Hey everybody, it's me Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to Great Days. So today I'm going to go over self-reflection and how self-reflection can actually bring you into clarity. Not only clarity, but it can subtleize you, open you up vibrationally, and it can help you to connect with more pristine states of awareness, right? So let's get into this. So self-reflection is very, 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 very important for each and every one of us as individuals, because self-reflection allows us to come into reflecting what actually is, right? When we kind of get lost in identification, falsehood, things like this, distortions, or just false ego, overstimulation, whatever it could be, we entangle with these things and then we kind of forget to reflect in that state of stillness, right? Which once again is important because when you do actually reflect upon oneself, you're able to grow in clarity, which is one of the most important things for any person. Because without clarity, you're just a mess. So then everybody needs clarity. And also, self-reflection allows you to dissolve into non-being, because the moment that you reflect the absolute within yourself, you can dissolve into the abyss, because the absolute is infinite, like the abyss. It's complete nothingness the moment that you reflect it absolutely, right? So then you can begin to transcend the ego in the whole reflectiveness of self. So practicing or reflecting oneself allows you to slowly transcend any false identifications, any identification, any distortion, right? Distortions of reality, of what actually is, right? So like rights and wrongs, or more so good and bads, conception, these don't actually exist. These are types of distortions that we've placed on reality. if you go out into nature, and I was talking about this yesterday, if you go out into nature, there are no goods and bads. There's not a single good and bad. There's just things happening. And the conceptualization, the label of good and bad that we've placed on things is a distortion. So the moment that you begin to reflect what actually is, you can come into more pure, pristine states of consciousness, healthier states of consciousness, rather than entangling in distorted states where things aren't what they seem to be. And this is where mass psychosis comes from, or this is where mass psychosis can come from, being entangled in the distorted, right? Instead of being able to reflect very pristinely what is actually the reality. And in order to do that, you have to reflect more often with stillness. So stillness has to be realized, which is synonymous with the whole processes of becoming reflective, purely reflective. So just reflect upon oneself more often. This can help you to come into deeper states of wisdom as well, because the more that you reflect upon oneself, the more that you can touch upon the source, because you are the source. Holistic realization is the realization that you, as a part, reflect the whole, the source. That's the reality of it, because you are a part of the whole, you're a part of the whole universe, but since you're a part of it, you reflect out the whole. You're the whole in the part. You're reflecting the whole as a part. So that makes you a whole in itself. There's fragmentation, that's fragments, that's fraction, and that's reflection, that's refraction, and that's reflection. Then wisdom can easily come to you, because all the timeless beings, all the enlightened beings, all enlightened beings, liberated beings, awakened beings, which are expanding upon the collective wisdom, collective knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, the wisdom that we're all sharing, can easily be tapped into, and it's a wellspring of wisdom. And you can tap into that if you reflect upon yourself more often, because when you reflect upon yourself, you can easily connect with yourself, which, after the process of transcendence, after the process of transcending death, all becomes oneself. So then you can easily pick up wisdom from yourself, because you're reflecting yourself like a mirror, right? You can listen to yourself. It's a mirror. If you listen to this video, you're listening to yourself, because you're just looking in the mirror, because it's one organism. We're one self. That's holistic realization. And holistic has a definition to it, so you can Google it if that makes you feel better, right? But parts, we're parts in the whole. Since we're parts of the whole, we are also the whole. We reflect out the whole, which is the source of creation. Within the source of creation, absolute intelligence, wisdom, and you can expand upon one's own wisdom through reflection, self-reflection. You have to self-reflect. Otherwise, you go very distorted, right? You need the pristine consciousness. It can be lost, but then that's just a dance, right? And you can always come back into being able to self-reflect. So self-reflection happens of itself. You don't need it, but it definitely helps you to come into that pristine consciousness, into a clarity as well, right? Because you don't necessarily need to always look at your reflection. But that's going to be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out, one love. Have a great evening.